to Sleep Stories with the Slumbering Seagull. These videos were made to help you sleep. So wherever you are, underneath the sun or underneath the stars, get relaxed and comfortable and let yourself drift away. Slumbering Seagull presents a new story series called Seasons. Seasons will be a series of different love stories, wholesome and uplifting for the heart. Sunset strolls by the shore. On that Friday, they picnicked, swam a little, and made sandcastles. Clayton had so much fun, he felt like a kid again. The food from the picnic was mainly organic fruits and vegetables from Opal's garden. They had Italian sandwiches and homemade tomatoes and homemade pickles and homemade potato salad. She even made a container of coffee for him. They shared chocolate chip muffins from the Slumbering Seagull. They were just as good as Opal hyped them up to be on the day they had met. Everything was delicious. Thank you, Opal. You didn't have to do all this. This has been a great day. The best day I've had in a long time, actually. Opal smiled. Would you be interested in dinner at my dad's restaurant tomorrow night? Yeah, I'd like that. And I'm telling you right now, I'll be paying for this dinner, Clayton declared. Okay, she giggled. They watched the sunset and he gave her a ride home. At the restaurant, the conversation between them flowed effortlessly. Opal shared stories of her garden, the signs of promising future scrumptious zucchini to come. Clayton listened, genuinely interested, despite his usual preoccupation with work. If you were here longer, I'd make you some zucchini bread, Opal said. Clayton's heart sank as reality sunk in. Right, I will be going back to New York in a couple weeks. So, you said you were a software developer? Opal asked. That really does sound fascinating. Clayton chuckled. It has its moments, but I envy your connection with nature and people. Living in New York City, it's easy to forget the simple pleasures. And I guess computer programs and applications were always easier for me to get than people. Opal leaned back, her eyes sparkling. Well, connection isn't easy for me either. It takes time and effort and time not looking for it too. Oh, Clayton didn't fully understand. What do you mean by that? She laughed to herself, hoping she could gather the right words. I mean, it's a balance. People come and go like the waves on the shore sometimes. Even the people that do stay can change. I just have learned that you have to decide to dig deep and figure out who you are and what you stand for, and then just be consistent. Opal looked off to the side, remembering her mother's advice to her when she was younger. One of my favorite Bible verses says, "Seek the kingdom of God above all else and live righteously, and he will give you everything you need." Matthew 6:33. She held back the tears as she thought fondly of her mother who had passed. "So, yeah," she said with a gentle smile. "Dig deep, figure out who you are and what you stand for, and then just be consistent." Clayton could tell she was really starting to open up to him. He had been in church for most of his life with his parents. He thought church and faith were fine things, good things. He had a lot of respect for God, but if he was honest with himself, he hadn't dug that deep. It was clear to Clayton it wasn't just a thing to do on Sunday morning for her. What Opal told him made him want to think about his faith more. Thank you for sharing that, Opal. You're definitely the smartest one at this table. Opal laughed out loud and shook her head. 2 heads are better than 1, right? Anyway, I hope you enjoy your stay here. Yawnchester has so much to love, she said. The salty breeze from the coast, the gorgeous sunsets, the way the stars twinkle over the harbor, and the people. Most people are so kind, like family. Clayton's gaze softened. "Family," he repeated. "I haven't seen mine in years. Work keeps me busy." Opal nodded as she listened. "Sometimes we need to step away from the screens," she said encouragingly. "Find our happy place and something that gives us peace." He studied her, the way her hair framed her face, the slight dimples on her cheeks, the fact that she wasn't the flashy type or over the top. She dressed more for comfort rather than to grab the attention of undeserving men. Her attire wasn't revealing or attention-seeking. Instead, her natural beauty radiated effortlessly. He felt a wish whisper in his heart. He secretly hoped to possibly be deserving of her. And there was a striking, inviting warmth about her he hadn't expected. She's so different, but in a good way. "Maybe you're right," he admitted. "Maybe it's time to focus on something other than lines of code." They ate their meal and decided to save room for dessert at the Slumbering Seagull Cafe. Clayton liked the idea of going somewhere quieter. Opal claimed that the chocolate cake there would be the best chocolate cake Clayton had ever had. It's good, but it doesn't beat my mom's chocolate cake. Okay. Would she be willing to share the recipe by any chance? I don't know. I can ask. Or I can see if she's willing to bake a cake. Oh, no, she doesn't have to do all that, Opal said, appreciating the offer. You don't like being given things, do you? Clayton said with a chuckle. Opal was caught off guard by his observation. I mean, if somebody really wants to, that's fine, but I don't like to be a bother. Clayton admired that Opal was so considerate of other people. She would rather do the work herself rather than expect for things to be given to her. It's okay to ask for things here and there, Clayton advised. Opal's face flashed a sad look. Clayton thought for a moment. Is your mom still around? Opal sighed. She passed just before I started my freshman year of high school. Clayton could see, even though years had passed, it still hurt. I'm used to having to figure out most things for myself. Her smile returned. I had a great mother, and I have an amazing dad. I realize that I'm very blessed to be able to say that. Clayton was awestruck by her resilience. She had a reason to be bitter and distant, but instead she was warm and caring and kind. The cherry on top was that they got along well together. He thought. Yes, it would be great to meet a lovely lady in the city, but what does it matter if she looks like $1,000,000? If she's self-centered and leaves me or mistreats me once any bump comes up in the road? Clayton thought to himself. Opal and Clayton discovered a shared love for old westerns, the smell of the rain, and the quiet moments that made life beautiful. Opal, I'm sorry if this seems weird of me to ask, but are you in a relationship right now? Opal shook her head with a grin. No, I'm not. Are you? She looked up at Clayton. Nope. He was relieved by her answer. Opal was relieved as well. Opal had a lot more questions, but decided not to get too far ahead of herself. In the back of her mind, she assumed that Clayton would go back home and forget about her anyways. She didn't like that thought, but perhaps it would be for the best. If Clayton wasn't the one, then that only meant the right person was still in her future. God knows how to get me where He wants me to be, she reminded herself. Regardless of what the future held for them, she was grateful to have made a great new friend. They went on to talk about lighter subjects. In the Slumbering Seagull Cafe, they found something more, a connection that bloomed like Opal's garden.